What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another great video. Welcome back to Everything Avon with my brother over there. We are actually back at the shop here where we have the Civic stored. Yes, it's been a while since we actually been out here. We did a couple of things off camera. There's been big things going on, big changes happening. If you guys have actually been following my brother's Instagram and Facebook page, you'll see all the big changes that we've actually done over the past couple months. Nothing really that has to do with installation, but as far as plans and going forward from here, that's pretty much what changed. So without further ado, I'll kind of jump over to my brother, let him explain what kind of switch around and madness we got going on.
Alright guys, so like my brother said, the last time you saw this car, we've done a complete 180 in the direction that we're going. As much as I wanted to build the D16, the 1.6 liter single cam, and prove to the world that those small motors could be reliable and make good power, we ran into a snag. So I want to show you, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but in there's some damage that we found at the machine shop. I never threw a rod when I had the car, but apparently the previous owner did and just replaced it with stock rods and pistons. And unfortunately, couldn't find a block so we could bore it out and put all those new parts we bought into it. Like we said, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So without further ado, welcome my 1.8 liter B18B non-VTEC out of an Integra LS.
So yeah, pretty much new things. Like I said, we got a whole bunch of different things that are now changing different directions, which it's not as simple as it thinks, because obviously different engine means different types of setup, different types of mounts you need. What kind of mounts are different between the two types of engines?
So one thing I'm learning with the D series and B series swap is for my chassis, the EG, a lot of the stuff is kind of the same, but some things are different. So one thing that's the same are mounts. So I went ahead and got new mounts all around. These are 1320 mounts. There's a T-bracket for my D series, but had to get a bigger one for the B series. So a lot of little things like that are different. One cool thing about it is the harness. I don't have to get a whole new harness because my D series harness actually fits 95% of the components on the B series engine. Just got to do a few conversions for the alternator. And then the last thing I want to show you all, I did install a bigger brake master cylinder. This is a 15/16 master cylinder that helps add more fluid into the system to help power the new disc brakes that we'll show you all here in a sec. Talking about those rear disc brakes, we actually did a whole trailing arm conversion out of a Integra. So the whole trailing arm came out. This used to be a drum brake setup. Now we have disc brakes for the Integra. You can see there upgraded stainless steel brake lines because the stock brake lines aren't long enough for this trailing arm. And here you'll see we got some new camber links, and then the star of the show, got new coilovers all around. And back here we have new lower control arms and that rear lower chassis brace.
Oh man, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I haven't been out here for part of this, guys. He's been doing this by himself because I've been stuck at work. So this is new to me just as well, and it looks freaking amazing. As you can see, he's going for the black and blue theme, which I think it looks great, to be quite honest. So what do you think we got next? Oh, you know, let's show him the interior. Let's see what's going on the inside. He's already got the interior mostly back in. Hopefully you guys can see, it's kind of dark in here. Hopefully the camera will adjust. Oh yeah, it adjusted pretty good. So he's got a whole new gauge setup, a total of 5 gauges all around. I'll let him talk to him. We plugged in the battery real quick just to see if we can light up the gauges for y'all. So let's see what happens.
So like Avon mentioned, I wired the gauges to individual switches. So we have the AEM Uego wideband. And then here on the A-pillar pod, I have boost and then oil pressure. And then last but not least, right here on the radio pod, I have water and volts. Don't need all the gauges, but the more the merrier.
Oh yeah, didn't you say they change or something? You can change them?
They do. So they're fully adjustable in the colors. I get as crazy as I want to get.
So as you can see, like I said, there's been a lot going on behind the scenes, but I felt like it was more than over time to catch you guys back up to what's going on. But we are still continuing the engine build. It won't be necessarily a fully built engine quite yet, but it will be building this vehicle with an engine, totally new tranny, which he actually has in the back of the Optima. other than that, what about the electronics? What did you have to do with that? Like maybe the ECU or something?
Yeah, so I ended up sending the ECU off to Speed Factory Racing to have Honda S300 soldered onto the board, then also tested. It'll be here soon, and should be easy to put a base map on it, get it ready until we go get it tuned.
Guys, we're gonna get cranking a little bit here. We're actually gonna jump to the junkyard. Gotta grab some bolts that we'll need since we are doing the D to B conversion. One thing I wanted to point out, guys, is he's making this thing turbo, obviously. And what other vehicle in the family do we have that's turbo? Of course, the Ego Beast. I sense a little challenge coming on here, whether he says it or not. Like a little Mufasa and Scar, except we're not gonna kill each other. It's just gonna be the vehicles doing the fighting. But you guys better get subscribed. Stay tuned. Once we get this guy up and running, get it tuned for the turbo, and get all this nice and settled down, of course we're gonna have to race him. We're gonna have to. And I'm gonna get him off the line. I can guarantee that 100%. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens after the 8 mile and the quarter mile. But make sure you guys stay tuned. Some good stuff we got coming up in the future. Alright guys, so we made our way out to our favorite place just behind AutoZone and Harbor Freight, the scrap yard, the junkyard. We're out here looking for an Integra so we can take some bolts off of the rear trailing arms, to my understanding. Once again, sea upon sea of cars. There's a Civic here, but we got to go search through all these guys, kind of figure out where everything's at, and hopefully find the parts we need. So we'll walk around. He's up underneath this Honda. I guess they have similar bolts or something. So I'm just gonna take a seat right here and spectate, enjoy the beautiful Arizona sun, and just kind of watch and see what he's doing. Isn't working on cars so great? Well, we didn't find what we were looking for, but it's alright. Still got to come out here once again. Love coming out here, me and the bro. It's gonna be like one of our favorite pastimes is junkyard hunting or junkyard jumping. Yeah, junkyard jumping. I like the sound of that. So on our way back to the shop where the Civic is, and we'll see what we're gonna do next. So we're back over at the shop, guys. I didn't find any bolts that we needed. What we did right now, real quick off camera, is we actually just took out the fuel pump because we needed to siphon out the gas, but the little port right here, or the little siphon pump, it didn't reach all the way to the gas tank. So hopefully you guys can see, it's kind of dark in here. Simply just remove the little cover here, and that's where you get access to the fuel hat. It's just, I think it's like 6 bolts or 6 nuts right there, and you just disconnect the fuel hose, disconnect the breather tube, and that comes right out. So next up, we're not going to really do too much assembling at the moment. We're just kind of looking at the B block, trying to see if our mounts line up and see just the orientation of everything and see if we need any other pieces. So I think I'm gonna call it for today's video. We're gonna use this as just like a quick update so you guys can see what we did miss or what you guys did miss. To be continued. We will be back out here next week. Hopefully at that point we'll be ready to put that guy in, or at least get the transmission in. But one thing for sure we're going to make sure we get ready and done is the brakes. Get the pads in there correctly, get the whole system bled through, because you don't want to go before you know you can stop. And if this is the first time that you guys have been at the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you don't miss out what we're coming up next for the Civic, for maybe the Optima, Eco Beast, you name it. We always got stuff going on. But for that, guys, thank you for watching. We'll check you out in the next one.